Governance is often discussed as a regulatory obligation, but in the last few years, we are seeing something different. Governance failures are now strategic failures. Welcome to the global shift. In today's episode, we will explore why best practice now determines corporate survival. Joining us today is Mr. Stefano Modena, Managing Partner at Governance Advisors SRL in Milan, Italy, and a founding advisory partner at WONE Global. Hello, Stefano. Thank you for joining in. You work with boards across listed companies, family businesses, and institutions. Has the role of governance fundamentally changed?
Thank you, Subhana. I work with boards since 20 years. And when I started this kind, the board, at least in Italy, was something relatively new because the board has always been a body that existed, but in listed company, at least, it has very different role. Since the mid 90s and then from 2000 onward, governance before has been established proceed to have a minority, somebody that could assure that the majority do not make anything wrong. So it was seen like something to protect minorities. Of course, most of the activity related to compliance in order to assure that the majority do not make something wrong about against minority. In recent years, this kind of culture passed, and now the compliance is losing a part of its importance, and the business is regaining the central. So the changes has been between protection, compliance, and now business.
Right. So I think what I take from this would be that it has been a powerful shift from, governance looked at as a safety net before to that being an operating system now. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So I think this immediately reframes the entire conversation. So governance is not slowing down companies. It's actually, what allows them to move faster in confidence then. So geopolitics, regulation, cyber risk all now land on both table. So what's changed there?
Well, on this issue, this is everything is changed. The world is changed because this basically geopolitical and cyber were not an issue some years ago. The world was predictable, stable, at little changes, of course, with little changes that permit bodies and the board of directors not to take important decision in little time without knowing what will happen in the future. Always was quite predictable. Geopolitical is core and is central now in the decision of the boards because investment decisions, where to produce, where to sell, all the logistic and the supply chain are affected by changes that in this moment are very important and unpredictable. Okay. Also, for accidental countries like Italy, historical alliance like USA now put in doubts because it is not sure how long this situation can be sustained. Europe is changing. And in the border, this reflects in discussions about what to do and what investment maintain, what to sell, discussion about reshoring, friendshoring that were not old just some years ago. On our part, we have a practice in geopolitical since 2022, before the war of Russia to Ukraine. Okay, one of our partners is a professor in the Italian University of Geopolitical, and also myself, I graduated in international relations in 2021. And now we will do courses for the Association of Independent Directors, the Italian Association of Independent Directors, about geopolitical, starting this February. The last meeting of this association will be dedicated completely to geopolitical issues. So this is very important. And also in our company, we have an ex-military that was in charge for the cybersecurity of NATO, the alliance between Europe, United States. He worked for a lot of years in the cybersecurity of NATO, and is now one of our partners on these issues. So these two points are very central in this moment in the discussion of the boards.
Thank you. Thank you for throwing light on those 2 points. And I think we're also very excited about the course that you were just talking about, which you would be doing in Feb. So we look forward to getting more information on that as well.
We can perform these courses worldwide.
Okay, that's very exciting. Thank you. We look forward to getting more info on that once it begins. Thank you. So what I deduced from this is that boards built for stability struggle when uncertainty becomes permanent, right? With what is happening right now, the entire environment. But why do boards still see compliance and business as opposing forces?
Well, really, they're not opposite forces. You need compliance to be sure that the market is protected by abuse. So compliance is not to slowing down the decision of the companies, but just to protect the company. And this allow the market to give more money, more funds to the companies. So they're not one against the other. The basis in order to get resources by the market in order to invest. And if you have resources, money from the market, you can invest. But you have to be accountant. You need to demonstrate your accountability to the market, giving information and assuring that the rules that are put in order to protect the market and the investors are respected. So the compliance is the basis. I know that been a long way to arrive to have a compliance that could be seen as the base. But if you imagine a big company, you can't imagine that it can work without policies, procedures, a system of compliance and auditing, because it's out of the control of the CEO to manage at the same time maybe thousands of people based in different places. So compliance is like the skeleton of the body on which you can put all other things. You have not a system to comply, you lose the control of the company. And if you lose the control of the company, there is no business that can be a good business.
Thank you. So I think I like that line very much, where you said that compliance is the skeleton itself, where you put all the other organs together, but it is the very skeleton that you need for everything to be in place. And it's not compliance that slows decision, but it would be unclear governance then. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
So what separates governance that works from governance that just looks good?
Well, good governance is done by good people, first of all. You have to think that a board of directors is a very special body because it has to take a decision about the strategic future of a company, and is not just running business as usual and either to run in the best way the actual business. Is about thinking of the future, what we will need in what we will need the market in the future, our customer, our clients, what will be the geopolitical environment, what will be important in some years. You know that many times you have to decide investment that maybe will have 10, 20, 30 years return time. And what you do now will be difficult, will not be changeable for many years. So in order to assess and evaluate if investments are correct and what to do, you have to have a good team. A good team means people with different culture that can be accountant, lawyers, but also geopolitical experts, cyber risk experts, or artists, whatever, different ages, different gender, different nationality, because each of them apports something, a view, a different point of view. The groupthink is one of the worst risks for a board, because if everybody has the same culture and the same age and the same way of thinking, they have, nobody can see if there is something wrong in the decision or the risk. So this body is a body that that made the difference because it's the one that take the decisions. And on the other hand, is the body that challenge the CEO in doing better. Do not leave all the power to the CEO, that must be responsible of doing the strategy, acting the strategy decided in the board by the board, not approved by the board and proposed by the CEO. Of course, it's part of the decision. If there is no alignment on this way, there is a big problem. One of the two must be changed, okay? The strategy of the board can put it in place, and on the other end, it is the same. So they must be aligned about the business to perform.
I also feel that one of the major essence of governance is that when it works, it's invisible until it's missing, right? Where it has now become such an important aspect of any business, be that as part of how the board members are also acting as maintaining the checks and balances to power and authority in the entire institution itself, of directing the institution to working better in this environment where everything is, there is so much happening in today's world, the environment in total, with cross border work and with global work coming into play as well. So, if you had to name one capability boards must build now, what is it?
They must be very smart to work together, because it's hard for a group of people of high culture and experience to hear what other people are saying. And it's difficult for a group to act not just as a sum of singles, but as a group. The reason to have a board of directors is to add different competencies that together are more synergics, are more than the sum of the singles. And to act as a team, every team, the board of directors, a soccer team, a cricket team, is always a big challenge. Only if the board of directors can behave like a team can make the difference. And what can be seen like a vision in a moment can be implemented and make the future.
It's dream work, like teamwork makes dream work. That's
Exactly.
the baseline of it is. So governance maturity itself is, becoming a trust signal as well. Great. Thank you. I feel the entire conversation it just paused me for a bit where I started reflecting on, the entire conversation that we had. It makes one thing clear, I feel, which is governance is no longer about rules, but it is about leadership to begin with, right? So thank you for bringing a boardroom level perspective to the Global Shift podcast. And any final thoughts for leaders navigating this shift today?
The advice is to look at little things that can grow and become big things in the future. So stay awake and look at the future with confidence.
Thank you so much. With
Thank
that,
you.
thank you. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Stefano. And with that, this is the Global Shift. Until next time, stay sharp, stay global. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.